It's a new year and we're here to bring you new Kickstarters for our Kickstarter Pickstarters for the week of January 7th, 2019. We start with Onimaru, a game where Oni have come through a shadow gate. It's up to you to stop them and try to close the gate before it's too late. In this game, you'll be taking the role of a hero, but using special traits you'll be able to customize with different skills and techniques and talents in order to try to use dice to defeat a horde of minions and 3 Oni. You'll actually be using this cool tray and different cards to sort of put them in and upgrade along the way as well, where you'll be able to use certain dice to either defend with or attack monsters. That concept itself is why I chose this as a Kickstarter Pickstarter. The trays look amazing, and the idea of being able to sort of start the game with a bunch of different techniques instead of just getting that one skill board for the character. So even if you play with the same character, they could play differently depending on what techniques you choose to start off with.
But what do the dice look like in this game?
Simple 6 like white dice, but you put them either in your board, which is cool. Once again, this reminded me a lot of
Ghost Stories?
No, well, yeah, no, like combat, but I was actually thinking that hero game we played, Reckoning, was it?
The Reckoners.
The Reckoners, how it had this very nice fitted tray for everything, like that. Like, so you had this whole thing where cards, and you put dice in your own thing for defense and stuff, but then by the monsters which are cards, not minis. But I thought that was a really cool concept, and also just, it's always nice to have trays at this point. And seeing that kind of stuff, I'd like to see more of that, and I'm hoping so it's more of just, because not only is it just cool to have a little bit, I think it adds for that, then when you do customization, then you can actually lock them in. It feels like you're really like doing something. I think they've already hit some stretch goals for some more heroes, which is pretty good. The game itself from, I should mention, Penguin and Panda Productions. 2 very cute black and white animals.
That's true.
Goes for $59. Definitely take a look if you're looking for something that has maybe a bit more, like I said, the trays and stuff, and obviously the art looks pretty good too, and if you like more of a Japanese themed game, this is definitely one to take a look at.
My first pick is Stonehenge and the Sun from Itten. This is a really unique concept that was actually originally entered in a space known as Is This a Game? So that should give you an indication as to what to expect from this exactly. Essentially, everyone is placing stone pieces on a round board, and they kind of make up what looks like Stonehenge. And after you place a piece, you have to swing a metal marble that is on a string suspended above the ceiling across the board, and you're trying not to hit any of the pieces and knock them over. As the game goes on, there are more and more pieces that people are placing, so it becomes more difficult, and you lose a point at the end of the game for each piece that you knocked over. So what makes this game super weird and definitely stand out from a lot of others is that it actually comes with hooks, multiple types of hooks. So there's an adhesive one, or there's one you can actually drill or mount into your ceiling or hang on a tripod if you want, because that is part of the game, is you need to have this marble hanging literally over your game so you can swing it like a pendulum or what have you. There's also another mode of the game where players place pieces simultaneously, and the marble does rotations around it, swinging in a big circle as you play, so it's even weirder and crazier. Just a strange concept. I don't know how super fun as a game it might be. It's sort of like a Jenga style kind of dexterity thing in a way, but it's such a unique, weird concept that I definitely wanted to discuss it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially with Kickstarter, I think it'd be nice to see maybe things that aren't just, oh, look, another big miniature game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so even though this is like, you definitely have to have a setup, and not everyone might be able to. I think it's still worthy of the pick just to see it and just what the hell's going on.
Yeah, it's weird. It's one that will get people talking if they ever see it on your table, that's for sure. And it may be one that encourages plays, because if you actually drill it into your ceiling, I mean, you can't ignore it. You'll have to bring that game out again. It goes for $57. It's Stonehenge and the Sun.
Next up, we're going to go into Animal Kingdoms. In this game, you are a house leader vying for control of 5 kingdoms. Each kingdom will give you victory points, and there's sort of these little triangles set up in this pentagram-shaped board. But in order to score on them, they each have certain rules. The game is pretty much played with a deck of cards of different animals with numbers on them, and certain houses may say you need to play from 8 to 1 in order, so no spaces. One could be only mammal symbols and lizard symbols. So they each have their own different rules. On your turn, you will choose to play a card into the kingdom, and then you can sort of put one of your cubes in there to show that you've scored in that kingdom. You can keep going, or if you don't want to, you can sort of discard your hand to get new cards. The last card will be worth extra points, but it's whoever put the most cubes in that kingdom is the one who scores that area in first, and then there's for who scored second and whatnot. Simple concept, but seemed a lot of fun. Especially you can choose whether you want to play or not. Like, I could play this, but then I'm giving the first place slot to who's next, and I'd rather have the two other people who, since they're already like tied for most, and see how them fight. Especially when there's different rules of number of cards or going from 8 to 1, and maybe you just don't have the card. And for $29, this game I think seemed like a pretty good price for what looked like could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I actually looked at this one too, and I thought it looked really cool. It's sort of a smash up-esque kind of, or any kind of territory control game where you're trying to have the most things in an area, but the different rules seemed really fun. It just seemed like a cool concept. I was into it.
The art was beautiful too on all the animal cards. Those are really nice. So definitely check out this game from Galactic Raptor Games.
La Stanza is the next game from Queen Ed Games, and it also comes from the designers of a bunch of other popular games, including Panamax. So if you're a fan of that or others, you might want to check this one out. It takes place in an Italian home, and all the players are moving throughout the different rooms. There are 6 rooms in total, and each room has different characters in it, different paintings, tiles that represent different artists from the Italian Renaissance. And as you go through, you're going to be moving a certain amount and choosing to take those tiles, and they're all from different kinds of sets representing different types of artists, and you're going to be taking those or choosing to keep them, use them for special abilities to give you points at the end of the game. And there's also, each room has a special ability, and as you go through you can choose which ability you'd like to do, the one that you're in, or you have assistants, and if you have the right colors of assistants, you can send them out to other rooms in the house that you're not in and take care of those remotely. Different things might let you get money, there might be bonus tiles at the end of the game that you can score, so you have to decide how you want to spend them and when. And it's just a really cool looking design. The board just looks like the layout of this old Italian mansion, and you're actually moving through it. You go throughout it clockwise as well, in order, but you can choose how many spaces, so that's kind of an interesting thing. It's not, you don't get to decide where to go, you have to sort of pre-plan where you're going to be and when. And just the look of it, the design, it's definitely a very Euro kind of thing, but it looked neat, and I had not played Panamax or the other games these guys have made, but you know, people have talked a lot about them, so.
Quick, just from the description, are we robbing the house?
That's kind of what it sounds like, but I don't believe that's the theme. I don't know exactly what it is. I think you're just enjoying the house.
Yeah. That being said, I always feel like a lot of the games that were art collecting and set collecting is always just fun, I feel like, and almost even learning a little bit. It's just like, you might not know many of the people, or at least I don't, because I don't have an art history major. So I think that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious how the assistant thing would work, because that could be some really interesting sort of just, you wait for that one moment when you just grab that painting from someone else ahead of you.
Yeah, definitely. Some interesting strategies probably come out there. It goes for $51. There's also a deluxe edition, which has upgraded components, and they're only going to be selling that through this Kickstarter. So if you think you like the game, you want to get your hands on it, now is the time.
If you're hearing spooky noises in the night and the Ghostbusters aren't answering your call, there's always the AV Ghost Paranormal Investigation. This board game is about taking the role of one of these members and going to different cases. Each case is about sort of a haunted area that you are trying to cleanse. To do so, you're first going to have to try to get clues, such as someone saying, "I've heard weird noises in the bedroom," or things like that, and put the right equipment in those areas. Then you'll hit the second phase, where you'll actually turn off the lights and turn on little LED lights on your investigators' bases. And you'll be using a phone app that will tell you whether you heard the right noises and put them in the right places. You'll have to use the light and use different filters to try to see specific clues and try to sort of solve the mystery of wherever you are and cleanse the place and clear out all the spirits, whether I guess that's good terms or bad. That alone, I think, is what makes this a pick, is just because it's this weird idea. I always love games that you try to use dark, because let's face it, it's really hard to do a board game in the dark, because there's a lot of reading. You can just have the lights on, they said, and just read from the book. But personally, I would want to use the app and the lights. I mean, that just sounds awesome.
That's a great way to add atmosphere and suspense. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I hope that it works. I hope it's like not just a gimmick, because it sounds cool, and I can finally live out my dreams of being a ghost hunter on one of those TV shows on USA or History Channel or whatever.
I think it's perfect if you're going to do that for an app, because first of all, the app gives a light, so you don't need to turn on a light from a book and try to read. And that could also, like it said, sometimes paranormal events may randomly pop up, which makes sense and scare you. You have a fear meter, and also technically your light, though I guess also your base does too. Battery life, so you actually might have to turn off your flashlight and get more batteries somehow.
Okay, cool.
And as of right now, there is an early bird pledge level, I believe. I think it's still going. So you can get a special, I think they call it the Green Twins miniature, because twins are never good in horror movies. But same price otherwise, $97. I do hope there is a Kickstarter exclusive campaign, but I would love for them if maybe as a stretch goal, a Kickstarter exclusive, maybe just an Italian guy carrying around a vacuum,
Okay, yeah, I see where you're going with that.
We'll take a closer look and see if you think this game is up your alley with the case mechanic and also the unique apps and the using lights in the dark. I think this game from Mystical Games is one worthy to hopefully see if it's a good game.
And lastly, here's a small one called Rune, made by Zamilio, who is also, it seems, a character in the game. It's kind of, I don't know if it's like a meta fourth wall breaking thing, but you're trying to summon Zamilio by placing runes. It's a simple two-player game where there are cards. Each card has 9, I believe, different rune symbols on it, and you're trying to place them on the table. You must place one so that it overlaps another pre-existing rune card, either by covering up the same matching symbol or so that it's adjacent to one of those matching symbols. So each one is a 3x3 grid, and you need to align it in that grid so that it matches up correctly. Or on your turn, each player has 3 figures. You can place one of those figures on top of a rune space, and if you do so, you gain points for all of the same rune symbols that figure is touching after the cards have been laid down. So you're waiting for your chance when it's the best play to put that out there and gather the most before the other player can either take it for themselves or block it so there are fewer runes showing. So it's just a simple kind of abstract card game, almost a tile laying thing, only cards, not tiles, but or even harkening back to things like Othello or even something like Dots, one of those simple kind of area control things, but it seemed cute.
Now, you said the publishing name is the same name as whatever you're summoning.
That's according to their video, yes.
What if this is all a trick and we're actually helping summon some strange creature?
You know what? For the price, I say it's worth it. It's only $10, so if it sounds like a neat deal, $10 for Rune, go check it out. So those are our Kickstarter picks for the week. We were off for a few weeks, so it's possible there were some that we missed, although I think that because of the holidays, there wasn't too much going on.
Yeah, and unlike the news stories, they sort of can't be covered because they might be already done or ending within hours of us making this video.
That's right, but certainly let us know if there's anything that we didn't talk about that you're excited for, that you're looking at, or any of the ones we mentioned, if you're going to back one of those, because we want to hear from you. You can do that right down below in the comments section of YouTube.
And of course, there's all the other places. You can email us, Facebook, Instagram, all those great places. But until then, I'm Will.
I'm Jonathan.
And this has been Kickstarter, Pickstarter.
Hey, if you liked this video, then like this video and subscribe to our channel for more board game content.
Would you kindly do it now?